Lieutenant Davis stood at the observation window of station, watching the dark landscape of LV-447 stretch out below him. The moon was not kind. It had sharp rocks, deep valleys, and a sky that never turned blue. The wind moved dust across empty plains. Nothing here was soft or welcoming. Had been at this station for 2 years, and he still did not like it. He was a Marine. Soldiers were supposed to protect people. But here on station, there was nothing to protect except machines and rocks and the small group of scientists who worked inside the metal walls. The station was built to study the world. Humans wanted to know if anything lived here. They wanted to understand the strange plants that grew in the cracks of rocks. They wanted to collect samples of the soil. This was why the scientists had come. This was why was here too. He kept them safe. That was his job. Behind him, Dr. Price was looking at something on her screen. She was the head scientist for the station. She was smart and kind, but she believed too much in the goodness of things. She thought that everything in the universe wanted to live in peace. "Come look at this," she said without looking up from her work. Turned away from the window, his boots made heavy sounds on the metal floor. He was a big man with muscle and scars. He had been through wars on 3 different planets. He had seen what happened when people trusted too much. "What is it?" he asked. "Thermal scan picked up something moving near Sector 7, Dr. Price said. "About 500 meters from the research building. Something alive, something big enough to show up on our sensors." Leaned closer to the screen, he saw a shape. It was red and yellow because it was warm. It was moving toward the station. It was not very big, maybe half a meter tall, but it was alive. That was interesting. In 2 years, had not seen anything on this moon that was bigger than a hand. "How big?" asked. "The scan says about 60 centimeters, maybe 70, and it is moving fast," Dr. Price said. She looked up at him. Her eyes were bright. She was excited. "This could be the first time we see a real living creature from this world, a real animal, not just plants, a real animal that moves and thinks." "Or it could be a predator," said. He was not excited, he was careful. "Maybe," Dr. Price said. She was still smiling. "But we need to know what it is." Touched his radio. He called Captain Foster, the commander of the station. The captain was in his office, probably reading reports and drinking bad coffee. All commanders did the same things, no matter where they were in space. "Captain, we have movement near Sector 7. Dr. Price thinks it might be a living creature," said. There was a pause, then the captain's voice came back. "I will be right there." Captain Foster came to the observation room in 3 minutes. He was older than, he had gray hair and lines on his face from years of thinking about hard problems. He looked at the screen. He looked at Dr. Price. He looked at. "It is heading for the south entrance," the captain said. "Take a team and get to Sector 7. Observe only, no contact. We do not know what this thing is." "Yes, sir," said. Took Sergeant Victor Cross with him. Victor was a good soldier. He was careful. He did not take stupid chances. They wore their full suits, the kind that protected them from bad air and heat and things that could cut. They carried weapons. The weapons might not work on something from this world, but they were better than nothing. The south entrance was a simple metal door. It opened to a short passage, then another door. Then the outside, and Victor moved slowly. They were trained for this. They knew how to be quiet. They knew how to watch for danger. The outside air was cold and thin. They could not breathe it. That was why they wore suits. The wind pushed at them, but not hard. The ground was covered with small rocks and red dust. "There," Victor said, pointing. The creature was lying on the ground about 50 meters away. It was not moving much. Could see it was hurt. One of its legs was bent in a bad way. It had blood on its body. The creature looked like nothing had ever seen. It was shaped like a cat or a lizard, but it was not either one. It had 4 legs. Its body was covered in scales that looked like dark blue metal. Its head was triangular. Its eyes were very large and glowing. They glowed with soft yellow light. It looked at and Victor. The creature made a sound. It was not loud. It sounded like something between a purr and a hiss. "It sees us," Victor said. "Do not move," said. The creature did not attack. It just looked at them. It was afraid, could see that. It was a young creature, maybe a baby. Maybe this was the first time it had seen humans, or maybe this was the first time it had seen anything so different from itself. Slowly moved forward. Victor stayed back, was being careful, he was being slow. The creature did not run away, it could not run, its leg was broken. "It is hurt," said into his radio. "It looks like it was in a fight, something big caught it." "Can you bring it back?" Dr. Price asked. Her voice was excited. "I can try," said. Knelt down slowly. The creature watched him. Its glowing eyes got brighter. It made another sound. This time it sounded like a bird, a small, scared bird. Took off one of his thick gloves. His hand was underneath. The hand was warm. The creature could probably feel the heat. It moved a little closer. It was a baby. It was hurt and alone. It did not know what else to do. Touched the creature very gently on its head. The scales were warm and smooth. The creature did not bite him. It did not run. It just looked at him with those big glowing eyes, and in that moment knew this was not just an animal. Something smart was looking back at him from those eyes, something that understood. "I got it," said. "It is not dangerous. It is just a baby, just a hurt baby." He carefully picked up the creature. It was light. Its bones were thin. It made a small noise in his arms, but it did not fight. It seemed to understand that was trying to help. As carried the creature back to the station, he did not know that this small decision would change everything. He did not know that bringing this hurt baby inside these metal walls would lead to a war between stars. He did not know that this creature would be the reason humanity would finally earn respect in a galaxy that had never needed what humans had to offer. He only knew that something hurt and small needed help, and that was enough. Dr. Watson was working in the medical bay when brought the creature inside. The creature was still alive. Its leg was very broken, but the baby was strong. It did not cry out in pain. It just held quiet and looked around at the bright lights and strange machines. "This is the most amazing thing I have ever seen," Dr. Watson said. He was young and excited. He started touching the creature gently, checking its body, looking for other wounds. "The biology is completely different from anything on Earth. Look at these scales. They are not just for protection. They have some kind of structure underneath. They might conduct electricity." "Can you fix the leg?" asked. "Yes, I can set it. It will take time, but this creature is strong. It should heal well," Dr. Watson said. Dr. Price came in. She was smiling wide. She looked at the creature like it was the most wonderful thing she had ever seen. To her, it probably was. She had come all the way to another moon to find something like this. "This is she said. "I remember reading old reports. The Coalition sent warnings about them years ago. They called them dangerous predators, uncontrollable. But look at this. Look at the intelligence in those eyes. This is not an animal. This is a young person." "A young person," said. "You are saying it is intelligent." "I am saying it is sentient," Dr. Price said. "Aware, thinking. We need to treat it like we would treat any intelligent being. We need to be kind to it." The creature was still looking around. It was looking at each person's face. It was studying them. It was trying to understand what it was seeing. Dr. Price held out her hand slowly. "Hello," she said in a soft voice. "We are going to help you. Your name is, I am going to call you. Is that okay?" The creature made a small sound. It was not exactly a word, but it was an answer. Left them to their work. He went back to his post, but he could not stop thinking about the creature. About those bright eyes that seemed to see more than just a room, that seemed to see people and their intentions. 3 hours later, Captain Foster called a meeting. Dr. Price, Dr. Watson, and Sergeant Victor Cross came to the command room. The captain was sitting at his desk. He looked tired. He had been reading something on his computer for a long time. "I sent a message to the Coalition," Captain Foster said. "I told them we found one of their creatures. I told them we are treating it for injury. I asked for their advice on how to care for it." Nobody said anything. "They responded very quickly," the captain continued. He turned his screen so everyone could see. "The representative is named. He is coming here tomorrow. He says we should not have brought the creature inside. He says are dangerous. He says they cannot be controlled." "That is wrong," Dr. Price said. "This creature is not dangerous. It is intelligent. It is probably just a baby that got separated from its family." "That is what we need to figure out," Captain Foster said. "Is coming to investigate. He is bringing other representatives. They want to assess the situation and determine what we should do with the creature." That night could not sleep. He went to the medical bay where they were keeping. The creature was in a containment room. It had soft materials for resting. It had water and food. Dr. Watson had set and sealed the broken leg with medical foam, was sleeping. But as watched through the transparent aluminum barrier, eyes opened. The creature was not really sleeping. It was just resting. It looked at. The yellow light in its eyes grew brighter. It made a soft sound. Put his hand on the barrier, came closer. The creature was small. Its head was maybe as big as hand. It pressed against the barrier on its side of the transparent wall, as close to as it could get. "You are going to be okay," said. He did not know if the creature could understand words, but he said them anyway. "I will not let anything bad happen to you, I promise." Made another sound. It sounded like acceptance. The next day arrived. He was tall, very tall. He was 2.4 meters high. His skin was not skin, it was like crystal. It was clear and blue, and it caught the light and made rainbows. He had 4 arms. He had eyes like flat black pools with no bottom. He did not look friendly. With came 2 other. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of light itself. They looked around the station like they owned it. "Show me the creature," said. His voice was hard and cold. It sounded like ice breaking on a frozen lake. They brought him to the medical bay. Was awake. When came in, moved backward. The creature was afraid, could see it. The baby was very afraid. "This is a young," said. "A cub. It must be destroyed immediately. They are all dangerous. They all carry aggression in their genes. The coalition has determined that this species cannot coexist with civilized worlds." "You mean you are trying to make them extinct?" Dr. Price said. "I mean we are protecting civilization," said. "We will sterilize this area. We will use plasma weapons to eliminate the creature and any others nearby. This is protocol." "No," Captain Foster said. "You cannot do that. This station is human territory. You cannot attack our research." "Then remove the creature, or we will remove it for you," said. Felt his hands become fists. He looked at. The baby was pressing against the back corner of the containment room, afraid, alone, hurt. "We need to study this," Dr. Price said. "We need to understand what it is. Give us time." Looked at her with his black eyes. "You have 1 day. Tomorrow either the creature is gone or we will handle this ourselves." That night, alarms began sounding. The sensors showed heat signatures moving across the landscape toward the station. Not 1, not 2, 4 massive heat signatures, 4 creatures, each one nearly 4.5 meters long. Adult, they were coming fast. They were coming to the station. Captain Foster ordered all non-essential personnel to move to the inner core. The station went into defense mode. Weapons systems came online. The plasma cannons moved into position on the walls. Was at his post. He could see them now on the exterior cameras, 4 massive creatures. They were moving with purpose. They were hunting. They were coming for something specific. They were coming for... Watched as the creatures got closer. The weapons were ready. 1 command from the captain and they would fire. 1 command and it would all be over. But then something unexpected happened. In the medical bay, stood up. The baby creature made a sound, a high-frequency sound, a sound that had never heard before, a sound that made the entire station vibrate. And the 4 adult outside stopped moving. They stopped right in the middle of their attack. They just stood there perfectly still on the dark landscape. For 40 seconds, everything stopped. The 4 massive creatures stood motionless on the dark landscape. The station held its breath. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Everyone was watching the screens showing the adult just standing there doing nothing. Then slowly the creatures turned around. They started walking away from the station. They moved back across the rocky ground, back toward the caves and valleys where they had come from. In less than 5 minutes they were gone. The sensors showed nothing but empty landscape again. Captain Foster was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Stand down, all weapons to neutral position." Was in the command room. His crystal skin was glowing with colors that might have been anger. His black eyes were very dark. "This is impossible," he said. "They cannot communicate. They have no language. They are animals." "Something just stopped 4 adult from attacking us," Dr. Price said. "Something that small creature did in the medical bay. That sounds like communication to me." "I demand access to the creature immediately," said. "It may have technology. It may be more dangerous than we thought." "No," Captain Foster said. "This station is a research facility, not a military operation. We will study what happened here with scientific methods, not with weapons." His body became very rigid. "You are making a serious mistake. The coalition will not accept this. There will be consequences." But he did not try to attack. He left the command room. 2 hours later, his ship left the station and disappeared into space. Over the next few days, strange things happened. Dr. Price and Dr. Watson spent hours with. The creature started to show abilities that nobody expected. Could understand simple gestures. When Dr. Price drew something on a piece of paper, would look at it and understand what she meant. When said a word, would watch his mouth and try to copy the sound. But there was something else, something that made very worried. Was studying everything about the station. The creature would stare at the computer screens for hours. It would watch the security systems. It would look at the defense cannons. It was learning how everything worked. This is not just intelligence, said to Dr. Price. This is military intelligence. This creature is learning our defenses. Or it is learning how to survive, Dr. Price said. Think about it. Its family was hunted. Its home was attacked. Maybe is learning what it needs to know to stay alive. Dr. Watson found something that changed everything. He was analyzing biology. He was looking at the creature's brain structure and genetic code, and he discovered something that made him call an emergency meeting. Its intelligence level is equivalent to a human child, Dr. Watson said. He showed everyone the scans. Look at the neural pathways, look at the processing ability. This is not an animal brain. This is a thinking brain, a brain that can reason, a brain that can plan. How is that possible? Captain Foster asked. The said were uncontrollable predators, simple animals. They lied, Dr. Price said. Or they are wrong. Either way is not what they said, is something much more. That was when decided to do something that was against regulations. He went to the containment room alone. Nobody was with him. No cameras were recording. He used his authority as security chief to make that happen. Was resting on the soft materials. When came in, the creature stood up. The broken leg was healing well, could stand on it now, though the movement was still painful. Removed his helmet. He did not take off his whole suit, but he removed his helmet so could see his face. Human too, whatever was. I know you understand me, said. I know you are smart, I know you can think, so I am going to tell you the truth. Came closer. The yellow eyes were very bright now. Your family is out there somewhere, said. Those creatures that came to the station, they were probably your family, the adults, the ones who protect you, am I right? Made a sound that was almost like a word. They were trying to get to you, continued. They wanted to bring you back, but you stopped them, you made them go away. Why did you do that? Was very quiet. Then the creature started to move in a strange way. It was making movements with its small arms. It was like drawing pictures in the air with its claws. Could not understand the language, but he could understand that was trying to tell him something. The creature made sounds and movements, sounds that might have been danger and stay and safe. The creature was trying to protect its family, had stopped them because if they attacked the station's weapons would kill them. Sat down, he looked at the small creature that was trying so hard to communicate something important, and he understood something that the probably never would understand. Was not a dangerous predator. Was a young person trying to save the life of its family. Your family is safe now, said. The ship that was here is gone. The one who wanted to hurt you, he is gone. Commander Alan Hayes arrived on a military transport ship. He was not had seemed angry and superior. Hayes seemed cold and efficient. He was tall like all, but his crystal skin was a pale gray, not bright blue likes. He had only 2 arms instead of 4. He was older. He was the kind of being who had made difficult decisions for a very long time and did not feel anything about them anymore. Hayes demanded to see everything. He looked at the station. He looked at the security recordings. He looked at the biological scans and he looked at itself from behind the transparent aluminum barrier. The creature was cautious around Hayes, could sense something dangerous in the commander, something that was not like or Dr. Price or Dr. Watson. Something that looked at and saw only a problem that needed to be solved. This is a, Hayes said. It was not a question. Young, female, based on the physiological markers. What are your intentions with the creature? We are studying it, Captain Foster said. We are learning about its biology and its intelligence. You cannot study something that is classified as a weapons threat by the Coalition, Hayes said. This creature must be destroyed. It is protocol. It is not a threat, Dr. Price said. It is intelligent, it is aware, it is a person. Hayes turned his black eyes to Dr. Price. It is a creature that belongs to a species that has threatened Coalition security. That is all I need to know. The Coalition said there were uncontrollable predators, Dr. Watson said. But this creature has shown every sign of high-level intelligence. Your classification was wrong. My classification was based on the best data available at the time, Hayes said. His voice did not change. It was still flat and cold. That data has not changed. What has changed is your perspective, and perspective is not relevant to security protocol. Felt his anger growing. He wanted to hit this creature. He wanted to throw Hayes out of the station and tell him to never come back. But he was a soldier, and soldiers did what they were ordered to do. Hayes looked at, "You are the security chief. What do you recommend?" Took a long time before answering. He looked at. The creature was watching him. Those bright yellow eyes were watching to see what he would do. "I recommend we keep the creature alive," said. "I recommend we continue studying it. I recommend we find a way to help it return to its family safely." "Your recommendation is noted and rejected," Hayes said. "I am invoking Coalition authority. The creature will be destroyed in 1 hour. All data related to the creature will be sealed and transmitted to Coalition headquarters. This facility will be investigated for violation of protocol. Prepare the creature for termination." Nobody moved. "That is an order," Hayes said. "No," said. Hayes looked at him with surprise. For the first time, something changed in the commander's cold face. "What did you say?" "I said no," said. "I will not execute an innocent being, not for a protocol that is based on wrong information, not for anyone." Captain Foster stood up. "This is my station, Commander, and on my station we follow the laws of humanity, not the laws of the Coalition. You have no authority here to order an execution of an intelligent being." Hayes was very still. His crystal skin began to glow. Colors moved through it like anger made solid. "You are making a grave mistake," he said, "both of you." "Maybe," Captain Foster said, "but it is the mistake we choose to make." Hayes touched something on his wrist. It was a communicator. He said something in his own language. It was a harsh language. It sounded like breaking ice and shattering glass. 3 minutes later, sensor alerts started sounding. 3 military vessels were moving into position around the station. They were establishing a perimeter. They were preparing for combat. Captain Foster activated the station's communication system. "All personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill." Went to the defense center. Sergeant Victor Cross was already there. The station had weapons, but they were old. They were designed to protect against natural hazards, not military ships. Knew they did not have a chance against 3 vessels. "We are going to die," Victor said quietly. "Maybe," said, "but not yet." In the medical bay, Dr. Price made a choice. She opens containment. The creature's leg was healed enough to walk, understood what was happening. The creature could feel the danger. It could understand that something bad was coming. Dr. Price took small clawed hand. "Come with me," she said. She brought to the observation deck. The observation deck was the highest point in the station. From there, you could see everything outside. Joined them, he did not know what Dr. Price was planning, but he trusted her. Dr. Price said she pointed at the landscape outside, the rocky ground, the caves, the valleys where family was hiding. "Can you call them? Can you make the sound you made before?" Looked at the landscape. The creature's yellow eyes got very bright, opened its mouth and made the high-frequency sound again, the sound that made everything vibrate, the sound that had stopped the 4 adults from attacking before. Nothing happened, not at first. Then very slowly heat signatures started appearing on the sensors. First one, then another, then more. 6 adults emerged from the caves and valleys. They were moving toward the station. They were moving fast. Then more appeared, 10, 12, more than could count. All of them were moving toward the station. All of them were coming to help the small creature that had called to them. Understood then, the creature was not just intelligent. The creature was a leader. The creature was the one the family listened to. The creature was special. Hayes saw it all on the station screens. His crystal skin turned very dark. It turned almost black. "Fire on the approaching creatures," he commanded. "No," Captain Foster said. He was at the communications station. "All weapons hold fire. I am invoking human law. On this station, we do not fire on intelligent beings without provocation." "You are declaring war on the Coalition," Hayes said. "We are declaring independence," Captain Foster said. Looked at, the creature looked back at him. In those yellow eyes, saw something he had not expected to see. He saw trust. He saw hope. He saw that this small creature believed that humans would do the right thing. Moved to the airlock. He pulled up small figure. He looked into those glowing yellow eyes. "Go," said. "Call them. Get your family away." And when you see them out there, scared and angry and ready to fight, you point at them and tell them what to do. Understood. The creature made a small sound that might have been a thank you. Opened the airlock, ran out onto the landscape. The air was thin and cold, but the creature did not care. The baby ran toward the adult creatures that were approaching the station, ran to meet them, and then did something that he had seen in old military films. He raised his rifle and pointed it at the advancing. He looked at them, and he said the words that soldiers said when they sent creatures into battle. "Sick 'em, buddy," said. Understood. The young turned toward the soldiers who were trying to land on the surface. The soldiers never made it to the ground. They were fast. They were organized. They were fighting for their lives and for their young. In less than 10 minutes, the landing operation was stopped. The forces retreated to their ships. But the adult did not stop. They surrounded the ships. They moved with precision and power. They showed the commander something that he had never expected to see from creatures he had classified as animals. They showed him organized warfare. They showed him that they were not prey. They were not simple predators. They were a civilization, a military, a people. On the station, everyone watched on the screens. Nobody said anything. They were watching a species that everyone had decided was dangerous and uncontrollable, prove that they were intelligent and strong and worthy of being treated like equals. Stood on a high rock watching the battle below. The young had found its place in the world. The creature was not just a survivor. The creature was a leader. After an hour, the ships moved away from the planet. They went into orbit. They did not leave. They just stopped attacking. They were waiting for new orders. They were waiting for their commanders to decide what to do next. Commander Hayes was still on the station. He was in the command center with Captain Foster. His crystal skin had stopped glowing. It had become a pale, dull gray. "This is not over," Hayes said. "The Coalition will respond. What you have done today is an act of war." "What we have done today is an act of survival," Captain Foster said. "And we have done it with a species that you were trying to destroy, a species that you lied about. When the Coalition finds out the truth, they will have to answer some difficult questions." Hayes said nothing. Captain Foster pressed a button. "Send this information to every news source in human space. Send it to every planet we have contact with. Make sure the entire galaxy knows what happened here. Make sure they know that they tried to commit genocide. And make sure they know that the humans of Station refused to be part of it." Over the next week, things changed very quickly. News spread across human space. Humans learned that there was an intelligent species being hunted to extinction by the Coalition. Humans learned that their people had stood up for what was right. Humans learned that the Coalition was not as perfect and noble as everyone had believed. Other species within the Coalition started asking questions. The asked questions. The asked questions. Species that had always trusted the Coalition's judgment started to doubt. But the biggest change came from themselves. Representatives of the civilization came to Station to negotiate. They came to meet the humans who had saved them. They came to learn about the beings who had chosen conscience over convenience. The representative was an old. She was almost twice the size of. She moved with the weight of wisdom and experience. She could speak human language, though the sounds were strange coming from her predator mouth. "We do not forget," the old said to Captain Foster. "Our people were dying, our civilization was ending, and you chose to stand with us. We do not forget kindness like that." "We only did what was right," Captain Foster said. "That is exactly why we remember it," the old said. "Doing what is right, even when it is dangerous, is the rarest thing in the universe." Was there too? The young still wore the medical bandage on its healing leg, but the creature was strong now. The creature was healthy. The creature had found its purpose. Watched as interacted with the other humans. The creature was learning human language. It was trying to understand human ways. And the humans were learning from. They were learning what intelligence looked like when it came from something so different from themselves. After the formal meeting, went to the observation deck alone. He wanted to be by himself. He wanted to think about everything that had happened. But he was not alone, came to find him. The young climbed up to the window beside. The creature was still small, still young. But there was something changed in those yellow eyes, something that showed the weight of what had done and what had become. "Hello," said. Made a sound. It was almost a word, almost a greeting. "You are going back with your family," said. "I know that. I know you have to go back to your people, to your home." Made another sound. the creature pressed close to. It was not like when was hurt and afraid. This time it was different. This time it was saying goodbye to a friend. "I will not forget you," said. "I will think about you. And I will remember this time when we taught each other that being different does not matter. Being kind matters, being honest matters, but being different does not matter." Stayed with for an hour. Just the soldier and the young creature. Just two beings from different worlds, sitting in silence, watching the dark landscape below. 2 days later left the station. The civilization sent a ship to take the young creature back to its home, and Dr. Price and Dr. Watson stood at the window and watched board the ship. They watched the ship rise up into the sky. They watched it disappear into the stars. The coalition did not attack station again. Instead, they had to face the questions they had been avoiding. They had to admit that they had tried to destroy a sentient civilization. They had to face legal consequences. The power they had held for so long started to slip from their hands. Humanity, for the first time, was recognized as something more than a young species trying to catch up to the older civilizations. Humans were recognized as beings who understood something important. Beings who understood that strength was not measured by weapons or technology. Strength was measured by the willingness to do what was right even when it was hard, even when it was dangerous. Years later was still on station. He was older now. His hair was starting to turn gray, but he still stood at the observation window. He still watched the landscape of LV-447. And sometimes, when the wind moved the dust in certain ways, he thought he saw shapes moving in the distance. Shapes like adult. Shapes like and its family living in the caves and valleys, safe because one human had decided that a small creature was worth saving. Captain Foster came to find at the window. "There is a message from the civilization," Captain Foster said. "From is now leading the effort to build a proper relationship between our people. Remembered what you did. Remembered being small and hurt and having someone choose to be kind." Felt something inside him, something that might have been pride, something that might have been hope. "Tell them I said hello," said. "Tell them I remember too." And as looked out at the landscape of this harsh and empty moon, he understood something that he had learned a long time ago when he was just a soldier who thought strength meant weapons. Sometimes the strongest thing a person could do was reach down and help something small that was afraid. Sometimes the greatest victory was not won with guns or ships or plans. Sometimes the greatest victory was won with a simple decision to care. Had been a soldier his whole life, but on a moon called LV-447, under the light of a cold star, he had learned to be something more. He had learned to be human, and that had made all the difference. Made sounds that the adults understood. And the hunt began. Came very close to. The creature was small enough to fit in his hands. It pressed against his chest. It made a sound that was soft and low, like a purr and a hum all mixed together. In that moment, felt something change inside him. He had been a soldier for his whole life. He had learned to see the world in terms of threats and danger. But this small creature was teaching him something different. It was teaching him that sometimes the most important thing in the world was just being kind to something that was hurt and afraid. The next morning, a message came from the coalition. They were sending a high-ranking official named Commander Alan Hayes. He was coming to investigate what had happened. He was coming to make a decision about whether humans should be allowed to stay on LV-447. And he was coming with authority to make any decision he wanted. "What is happening?" Captain Foster asked. Nobody answered because nobody knew.